It's a
I know
blessing.
it's been a long ride with you, and you finally you accomplished this milestone in your life. So I wanted to kind of, if you could just kind of share with the world like your story and what you went through and how you became a renter. Now you actually own a home, and what are the feelings that you're going through? Like how does that feel emotionally?
Yeah, so my story is a little bit different than probably your typical client. But I think obviously we want to be able to connect with lots of different people. So I had a little bit of a different situation. I'm a very strong Christian, and so was living the debt-free lifestyle,
Mhm.
and really at one point I've owned actually properties in the past. And then I had a wonderful career opportunity, which allowed me to be in corporate housing for a few years.
Okay.
And so what ended up happening, I ended up selling my home and then going into corporate housing. And then I was doing the whole debt-free thing. So I wasn't doing anything to manage my credit score, if that makes sense. And so without me realizing it, suddenly I had no credit score whatsoever. I didn't realize that by not using credit, I was following one of the big popular Christian finance guys. I won't say the name, but anyone who's a Christian knows who I'm talking about.
Okay.
And so I was following that model, which was great. And so totally debt free and living the life and paying cash for everything. But I didn't realize that your credit score goes away
Yeah.
when you do that.
Right.
I think it might only be 18 months. You would know.
Yeah.
And so then I was even in a position where I could move some things around and maybe pay cash for a house, but then COVID hit and there's all kinds of negative things going on, but also lots of positive things. And so I wanted to stay in a good position to be able to do whatever I needed to do. So I didn't want to take all that cash and put it into a house.
Right. Right.
And my daughter's going away to college and things like that. So
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll go ahead and do a mortgage and just stay. Because literally this was happening. Picture this, Angelo, May of 2020. So you're talking about like the heart of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was like, we don't know which way things are going here. And I want to stay in a strong position no matter what occurs. I am the president and CEO of a large, very trending women's healthcare.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And so you think about what was happening with healthcare and
Right.
it was shut doors and everything was up for grabs. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll just go ahead. I want to move. I'm ready to move. There was a beautiful community, which I can't disclose the actual community for security reasons because I'm a public figure, but I can tell you that your clients and future customers should know it's one of the top 50 most desirable neighborhoods in the country. So just to give you guys an idea of what can be accomplished when you work with Angelo. So I go for my mortgage and I have no credit score. You guys and I'm a marketing person and I really appreciate, I just appreciate inspiring people, like the value add. So in other words, I'm surfing on the line and I want to know what opportunities. We don't even know what loans are available. This is May 2020. Right. Like, are they doing mortgages? What are the interest rates like? It was a crazy time. So I'm just popping around on YouTube and you attracted me right away. Well, first of all, your name, you're a Christian. And I'm a Christian. And then I liked your vibe and you just reminded me of a lot of the business people that I interact with and also even some of my mentors. And you're a future forward, inspiring, great marketing, great presence. And then I love your story, of victory and accomplishment. So in other words, it was like more than a mortgage company, which I know has to be part of your mission. Yeah. So it was like, oh, I like this. This is inspiring. So I just started listening to your stuff every day. So I really believe in giving the business where it's earned too. Like this guy is doing something really different. He's bringing different value. He deserves this. He deserves the mortgage. Like, honestly.
Oh, wow.
So I contact your guys, which were great. They're all so sweet. And they go to pull my credit score and I have no credit score. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, no, you don't have any credit score. In fact, your people thought it was a mistake. They're like, spell your name again and different stuff like that. And I'm like, this is weird, but I'm the only Bridget Van Means in the entire world. Like they've done a search of it. I'm like, it's for sure me. And they're like, well, your credit score is 0. I said, well, is that like bad credit? They're like, no, it's definitely better than bad credit, but it's no credit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had already kind of started talking to the people that I was in the corporate housing for about moving out. So it's like, oh my gosh. So your people just stayed calm and they just told me exactly what to do as far as like re-engaging with a couple of, so now I have no credit. So re-engaging with a couple of the prepaid credit cards, which was no problem, and I had no negative credit. They're like, are you sure you don't have like anything weird going on? I'm like, the only thing weird going on is I've been living a good life and living debt free and put my credit cards in the freezer, and I'm debt free. That's the only weird thing going on. So they said, well, we think we can probably get you a score pulled in about 4 or 5 months. And so I was like, oh, and so they kept me calm, just stay the course. They gave me exactly what to do. And so then I went ahead and just started doing some home searching just to feel kind of fun and motivated. And so that was really weird, as you know, in the middle of COVID, right? Because there were weird ways of getting into the house. A lot of it was remote. They had these like remote access things. Some of the agents were nervous. It was just a very surreal time. And I had a feeling of about how much I wanted to spend. And so I just started doing the search and I was very methodical about getting that score. So I knew I wanted 4 prepaid cards is what your people told me. And then to get a mix of types of loans, right? Not just credit cards. So I got 1 revolving account.
Right.
And then 3 credit cards. So that gave me 4 open accounts. And they had said that 4 or 5 was ideal, that would move things very quickly. And then I just did what you guys all need to do. Use your card and then pay it off at the end of the month. Use your card, pay it off at the end of the month. I actually even started doing double payments in the month. Like I would use the card, pay it, use it again, pay it. And, it's like 2 points here, 4 points there. So then I was just being methodical about it and then just kind of watching what was going on with the economy. And then the housing market was booming, which is so fun for you guys. Like, who would have seen that coming? And so now the housing market is booming. Right. And I kind of knew where I wanted to be, but it's very hard to get into this community. The houses either go as a pocket listing or they're gone in 2 or 3 days. So that was a little weird, right? Because I couldn't move that quickly yet. Right. But I just kept coming over here and staying motivated. In fact, I'm in my office right now, so I'll give you like just a little, but I want to show you this.
Okay, cool.
So I'm on the lake here.
Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah, right on the lake. So I'm in my office right now, Angelo.
Oh,
brand new. So I ended up in new construction. My story just gets better and better. The houses were selling too quickly. And so then that kind of worked because I would have probably another 6 to 9 months to wait for my house. And then I knew that I needed to get that credit score going and I could show proof of funds. So the builders were comfortable with me, And so then I went ahead and I did a contract. So then I pulled my first score, and my first score, because of your guys' coaching, my first score came in at like a 745. So I was coming in hot on my first score. Yeah.
Wow.
Doing exactly what you guys were teaching, right?
Yeah, that is incredible. That is
awesome. So as soon as I got my score, then I ran over to the builder and put the contract in. And so that was February. And they said that the house would be done in May.
Okay.
At the end of May. And so it all just came together. And then I worked with Angelina and I worked with Syed and different people for different roles. You guys are very responsive. I'm sure you're very busy. I know the housing market is so busy. And I know that with your marketing approach through the YouTube and stuff, I'm sure you get a lot of incoming stuff. And I know most of your cases are not quite as easy as mine because I follow instructions and I'm real diligent. But man, you guys are responsive. You get right back. So to put some meat on the bones here, that's another thing that you guys taught me is that I was eligible for a first time home buyer. I would have never thought that because I've owned homes lots, for 25 years.
Right.
But if you haven't technically owned, if you have not been on a title for 3 years, guys, then you are a new homeowner.
Right.
And so then that allowed me to do, I wanted a conventional because the house was above FHA and my income easily supported that. And so I wanted a conventional loan, which you guys did. You first qualified me for the FHA just to make sure I had that in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, the house I want to build is a little more than that. And so then they started working on my conventional for me. First time home buyer, conventional, 3% down, baby.
Awesome.
So I didn't even have to do the 5%, right?
Yeah.
And then they taught me how to negotiate for some closing costs, which was a little bit harder now, which I know you've been saying in the videos because of the market that we're in.
Yeah.
But you guys gave me some first-time home buyer credits.
Yeah.
And you're really good with your math and everything. And so by the time the thing was done, I had already put like a down payment down on the house, right? But not a huge one, just enough. And by the time I went to closing, Angelo, I only paid $300 more than my down payment. My closing costs had disappeared by the time you guys were done with me.
Wow. That's a beautiful story.
So I got into a beautiful, this builder, Angelo, cannot build fast enough for the demand. Like this community, like everybody wants to be here now. It's just booming. Wow. And so I got into a beautiful dream home on the lake, 4-bedroom, 3,000 square feet.
Wow.
From foundation up, brand new, fresh and gorgeous, all the new smells. Mm-hmm. And I got in on a 3% down in the middle of this housing market with my closing costs disappeared.
Wow, that is an amazing story. That should be put on NBC. So,
I like it. Well, you and I would have to do it together. We would have to inspire people.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, what you guys didn't know, and what I'll tell you now, is that the work that I do is remarkable. So I'm the president of a group called Thrive, and we're the nation's fastest trending women's health care provider.
Nice.
But we also have a real investment in underserved women, single moms, and we're adding a component of first-time home buyer.
There you go.
So it's called Life University, where we teach them, across every area of their life, budgeting. We're now ready to get into credit and helping them with their first home purchase. And so really, I was moving towards you, Angelo, because your company has a heart. It's not just a transaction. There's a soul and a spirit of what you're doing. It's very obvious in you as a leader and in your message. And I figured that this would be a great opportunity to partner with you guys and have you guys help our women. We're in 8 states now, but we are going to be in all 50 states in the next 5 years. So maybe, we can tie them into your videos, do some coaching. Absolutely. As things develop. You may want to plug in even more than that. But really what I was kind of doing was taking you guys through a dry run of the experience to see if it's something that I'd feel comfortable adding my girls into the program with. So everything went really well, and we're super excited about helping a bunch of our moms become first-time home buyers.
Yeah, no, I love that. We would love to be a part of that. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, and then like you mentioned earlier, my story. I grew up without ever owning a home, and my father, he pretty much abandoned us, and
so exactly.
Yeah, single mom. Raising 5 kids, and I had to be there to help to take care of the family with my mom. Mm-hmm. And so I have a passion, towards, helping women to, own a home. And so it's something that, from my childhood. So there's a lot of, symbolism there, and a lot of, strong feelings to, to help. Cause, it's tough. It's not, trying to make it and trying to do it, and trying to get as much help as you can, the right company, because I'm sure, or maybe you experience this, I don't know, but a lot of mortgage companies, if you don't have a 750 credit, if you're not perfect, if you're not buttoned up, watertight, they won't even return your call.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And we get a ton of those calls every day where, I can't get the lender to call me back. They denied me. They won't tell me what to do.
Yes.
And so really how we're different, and you mentioned it earlier, is we showed you how to structure it, how to make it work, what you had to do, walk through the process. And that's really, really how we're different, is because we really try to care as much as we can to help somebody. And I think also what's important in your case that you mentioned too, that you took action. right?
Mm-hmm.
You were
Yep.
determined.
Yep.
You kept mentioning the word methodically.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, there's a reason why it happened when you in the universe when you unite two energies that are on a
Mm-hmm.
focused
The
goal.
power, it's
Yeah,
called the power of agreement.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you close on your home. That was the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That was the result. And you deserve everything that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing because in our message with our clients and what we tell the world is that look, you know, we're going to work on this together. There's a goal. It's the goal to get
Mm-hmm.
Miss Van Means into her home or Mr. Smith, and it's going to be a two-way street. We're going to provide a path, and then you have to execute on that path.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
provided that you take action, you execute, then you're gonna be victorious. You're gonna realize your goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a huge thing. You just walked up and stood around your house and showed me your home, and 6 months ago you were somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of commitment,
Mm-hmm.
the power of focus. You took massive action, and so I mean you deserve everything you've got now and more abundance.
Thank you so much. And, I think that most people, if they're not basically, God has gifted some of us with financial and business strengths and to whom much has been given, much is expected, so it doesn't come easily. But most people are very intimidated by conversations and interactions with banks and finances, or if they're coming out of a hard time, they can feel kind of hopeless.
Right.
And so perseverance and coaching, the soul element that you guys are bringing to it, the willingness to your approach and your coaching style, it's very soothing, very calming. You're confident, and you just get that sense like you're going to figure out a way to make the deal. The other thing I think that you do that's super valuable is, people just have to be realistic about the time on something. Like my feeling is that a lot of times maybe someone gets turned down and then they take a look at what's going to be accomplished and sometimes they just give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it just seems so overwhelming. And maybe they're coming out of some failure. If it's a bankruptcy or if it's a foreclosure, they've already had some of that wind taken out of their sails. But it's just like, what I teach my women is just take the next step, just keep moving, just move towards it, move towards it. As you said, the universe is going to rise up and honor that. If you're a Christian, God is going to be with you. If you have any spirituality as well, there's that element too, but don't give up. Or they'll say, well, if you can't fix it in 60 days, then whatever. No, like just keep moving, just move towards the giant, take that next step. Each step builds to the next one. But you know what? Wouldn't you rather be in a house in a year that you want because you didn't give up than to give up and still be in your same lousy situation 3 years later? But it's a lot of it is mental discipline and attitude. And I feel like you really help with that as well. Because your people were realistic. That wasn't the answer I wanted. I wanted them to tell me that I would have a credit score in 30 days. Yeah. I wanted them to tell me that because I'm a successful business person, a deal's going to get done, in my time frame. But they were realistic about the time frame. I kept my focus on the goal. Technically, my first contact with you is May. It took a year, but I'm in a much more ideal situation than I would have been in if it had happened even faster, because it was the right lot at the right time. And you know how all that stuff goes too. So the thing that I liked about you is I felt like you're going to help me get the deal done. Like if it takes 6 months, if it takes a year. And then the other thing that I would say, so responsive. You guys are so responsive. So I don't know how you're doing all that in the middle of this busy market. And I know that a lot of your clients take that extra TLC, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me. Eventually I would have been in a situation where, I could get a loan anywhere, but I love the fact that you're out there really helping people. And, housing is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you want kids to feel secure, like your mom with 5 kids as a single mom, and especially back then where, it's not as common then as it is now, and not as even as many opportunities, not that you're that old, but it's not so easy, 20, 30, 40 years ago for a woman to raise 5 kids. Oh. And I know that for my friends that were in similar situations, a lot of times they were bouncing from apartment to apartment and, the housing didn't feel very stable. And then the other thing too, Angela, is the school districts. Like we want our women to be in good school districts, because that makes all the difference. We lost one of our women to a murder. I mean, it's tragic, but she was in the wrong. We had everything going for her and she had everything lined up, but dang it, she was in the wrong neighborhood. So we're really fueled about helping these women get into a better neighborhood and a better school district. Yeah. So just thank you for everything.
Yeah, no, that's something that I definitely want to get with you on. Is helping them. That's a huge thing, because I mean, I grew up, pretty much in the rough neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in our car. We lived on the street.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Just your mom was just doing the best she could.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, it was a different deal. And but yeah, I mean, no, I want to help you, all of your, friends, colleagues, coworkers, whatever we have to do, because that's a huge mission if we can transform someone's life. And especially
it changes everything. Just getting the kids in a better school and a safer neighborhood changes everything.
I agree. Yeah. I agree completely. Well, this has been actually, I mean, you've really inspired my day today. And,
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, just your story. I really love your story. It resonates very well, I think, with me, with America, with people. And I did a podcast about a month ago with one of my other clients, and his big message, he didn't have the 0 credit score, be like a 580 credit score.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing is like, Angelo, don't let your credit score determine your worth.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, like, in the end, that's my message to
that's good.
Is that, because so many other lenders would judge him based on his credit score, and he felt like that's who he was, and it almost was like a stigma to him. And I said,
absolutely. Oh yeah, people will ask your credit score, like in dating situations and stuff.
Yeah. And, so he felt kind of, like he was rejected because
absolutely,
people, didn't want to talk to him or deal with him. And in the end, we got his credit boosted up, and he closed on his home.
That's awesome.
I think that, you can't, and that's the thing. I mean, the bank doesn't want to deal with you, or because you're doing a certain type of loan, they don't want to have to do any business with you. I think that's complete nonsense. And, there's ways and strategies like you executed on, employed, to get your score up. And now you have a 750 FICO. Now you can command low interest rates. You can, now you're going to have a mortgage on your credit. Your score is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
So, so it's good. I really appreciate you, coming on the show today. This has been very inspiring, very uplifting for me. And I certainly want to get with you in the future to figure out, how we can help thrive,
Yeah, that would be awesome. And again, we have a team that could take on the heavy loading, the heavy labor of making sure they're staying on point and keeping them on track. But being able to figure out a way to maybe plug in with the videos and stuff, I think is going to be really awesome. It's the obvious next step for us. So thank you for everything. You're over the target. You're doing great work. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you. Take care. All the best. Be safe. And we'll definitely be following up with you, Bridget.
Okay, awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Angelo.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.